everyone. Welcome to Credential Up Houston. My name is Margaret Fort Fisher. Many businesses affiliate with chambers of commerce for the purpose of networking and furthering the interests of their businesses in a business-to-business exchange. Well, today we will highlight one of the local chambers of commerce near downtown Houston and the work underway to support and advocate for local businesses, which includes legislative influence, community engagement, networking events, and workforce and economic development. I asked the executive director of the Greater Northside Chamber of Commerce to join us today in this conversation and to invite two of his chamber business members to join in the conversation. So today we are delighted that they're here and that we're going to have a conversation about the Northside Chamber. Our guests are Mr. James Montalbano, Executive Director of the Greater Northside Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Johnny So, Managing Member of White Oak Music Hall, and Mr. Anthony Heins, founder of Black Page Brewing. Thank you all very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Dr. Fisher.
Absolutely. So let's begin by talking about the role and the purpose of the chamber. We talked briefly about it in the intro, so tell us how your vision and how the purpose and the mission might vary to some degree.
Well, I think how we vary is we want to provide tangibility for our members. We feel that's very important, and I feel that gets overlooked sometimes with chambers. If somebody is going to invest in our community, invest in our chamber, what typically do you expect in return for that?
And so that's the tangibility.
Yeah,
so
you want a return
example
on that investment. And so that's why we work very hard to try to see to it that we can provide that tangibility.
Okay, and so that tangibility then results in what in return for the members, as an example?
Increased business, increased exposure, and increase the bottom line. You know, because if somebody invests a certain amount of money to be a member of our chamber, I want them to get a return on that many times fold.
Yes, of course.
And we're going to try to give them the tools necessary to do that.
That's exciting. So when you look at all of the businesses that are part of your chamber, tell us just a bit about the varying membership constituents that you have and the total number that you have in your business.
Right now, I think we're at about 90 active members, and we are, expanding upon that on a weekly basis. We sort of had a reboot back in 2017, and so we have been building slowly, again, because it was important that we took these baby steps, I felt, because we wanted to provide what we promised to people, provide that level of tangibility. I use that word a lot, but it's just really how I feel about it. And so we feel we're at the point now where we feel very happy with what we've accomplished, but we still know we have a lot to improve upon, a lot to grow upon, and so we want to continue to build this incrementally.
So I was looking at your website, and you have quite a number of coffee and chat events, and you also have the networking events and the luncheons as well, which is really rather interesting, and you're bringing in very dynamic speakers also to the chamber. So this is something that the chamber members can benefit from as well, as you indicated. So we have two of your chamber members who are here. Now let's establish, when was the chamber rebooted? In what year?
2017, essentially. It was founded in 2013. And we went through a couple of different directors, and a very close friend of mine had started to steer things in the right direction, and then he had to step down for some health reasons, and so that's when I took over and kind of continued from the momentum that he started.
Very, very good. So with the two chamber members that you have here, the businesses, so Mr. So, how long have you been a member of the Northside Chamber?
Actually, we just recently joined. We opened in 2016, and quite honestly, I don't know the reason why we didn't join sooner. But it came across my desk, and I said, I can't believe we're not members already. And so we recently joined, and so we have a unique perspective because we don't know what it looked like before 2017. We only know the existing paradigm. And it's been a good resource for us, not only for our business, but in terms of outreach to the community. They have a lot of initiatives that, as we're all busy people, we have to focus on our businesses. We don't always focus on what are ways in which businesses can integrate themselves with the community. And so the chamber helps us interface with the community, with the lunch and learns or the speakers that they bring in. James and I have been talking about organizing an event that features local vendors. You know, maybe they don't have the resources to put on a huge enterprise, but they want to have a forum to sell their products or sell their services. So we're talking just in the very early stages of starting an easily accessible event that can utilize the space at White Oak Music Hall to give these community members an opportunity to advocate for their businesses. So it's very nascent for us. And again, for me, the important part is, you know, yes, of course, we appreciate the value and tangibility that James says that the chamber brings to White Oak Music Hall. But really, for me, it's primarily just a reminder that there are certain levels of outreach that we need to extend to the community. And that's what's interesting to me personally. We're in the business of concerts, so we have hundreds and hundreds of concerts every year. So these sort of community outreach events and initiatives, in a certain way, are more interesting to us at this point.
Of course.
Yeah.
And of course, they help you to network, as you indicate.
Yeah,
to network with the
absolutely.
community.
And actually, you know, some of it is actually helping the community network with others.
Of course.
So, for example, through our business, we have all sorts of vendors that we work with, resources, and it's helpful for people in the community who are just starting their business. Like, hey, do you know a guy who does concrete? Do you know a guy who does
Yes.
windows? Do you know a guy who does this
That's
or
the
that?
business to
Yeah,
business.
exactly.
piece. Absolutely. So what about you, Mr. Heins?
So we're in the process of getting open, and you know, once we do get to that point, which should be pretty soon here, you know, we're excited to just kind of give back to the local community through the chamber, and you know, help them with events at our brewery, and you know, really just be a place similar to White Oak that the community is able to gather at, socialize, whether you're a family or you're single or you're, you know, retired. I mean, just all types of people, and that's kind of what the brewery environment really is all about, and kind of bringing people together, and you know, just helping to kind of grow that community by, you know, having a great place for people to socialize of all kind of backgrounds, and you know, just different people all coming together with a, you know, a great place, a great place to socialize.
So how long have you been a member, your company, a member of the chamber?
Just recently. I mean, we're a brand new business, so
I see.
we're just getting started, but you know, we look forward to kind of helping each other and growing together.
Okay.
And his partner, Christopher Manriquez, he has a restaurant in Northside that we do a lot of events at called Edison and Patton, if I may mention that name. But
Certainly.
we have a lot of events there, and Christopher's been very active in our community.
Okay, so the business to business relationship is very important, but the business to community relationship is critically important as well. And so we're going to take a break, and when we return, we're going to talk about how the community is empowered as well as a result of the business's presence in the community. Are there scholarships? Are there jobs? What's available to the community as a result of the businesses being present? So we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back, so please stay with us.
HCC's online college is officially open. This not only means online classes, but also online degrees and certificates. You can now credential up anytime, anywhere. Join the fast-growing number of students getting their full college education from anywhere they use a laptop. HCC currently offers 32 fully online degrees and will offer 71 next year. You no longer have to find a way or time to get to college. HCC brings college to you.
Welcome back to Credential Up Houston. Today we're talking about chambers of commerce and how the businesses are empowered, but how the community is empowered as well. And I'm delighted with our guests who are here today who will talk about that. And I'd like to go back to the topic that we were discussing in the first segment that pertained to the businesses giving back to the community, not just in terms of the provision of services, but also in terms of scholarships and in terms of foundation support or in terms of employment for the community residents. Mr. Montalbano, what's happening on that end?
Well, a lot of the businesses actually can filter that through us because this last year, for example, we were able to provide scholarships for several students in our community to attend HCC and to attend UH downtown.
That's great.
And we also like to have a lot of programs. I actually get asked to participate in different forums to mentor and meet with high school students or college students. And we're a big believer in entrepreneurship from within. We have a lot of kids in our own community that have a lot of strong abilities, and we want to help them and build them. And a good way to do that is to have them meet with people such as Johnny, with people such as Anthony, because these guys are very inspiring, because they say, hey, Johnny can do it, Anthony can do it, I can do it too.
Certainly.
So we try to set those type of scenarios up and get people together to say, because what Johnny's done, what Anthony's doing, that's very inspiring to a lot of prospective entrepreneurs.
Certainly, and of course the mentorship opportunity as well is really critically important for those students who are aspiring, for example, to become executive directors of chambers, for example, or to become managing directors, or to become founders of their own businesses. And so I'd like to talk just a moment about how do our students prepare to become an executive director of a chamber or to become a managing director of a theater or to become an entrepreneur. We have programs for that, but how do they prepare? Let's go to you, Mr. So.
Well, we're sort of uniquely positioned in that most of the people that work for us are very young. We're in the live music industry. I would say 90% of the people that work for us are under 30. I'm probably the old guy in the room at White Oak Music Hall. So the leap from an HCC student to working at White Oak Music Hall, this is not a 20 or 30 year process. I mean, this could literally be tomorrow. I mean, we have some individuals that work for us that are 18 or 19, even right now. So the best way to get involved for us is just to demonstrate a really hard work ethic. So for music halls and concerts, the perception is, well, it's concerts, it's live music, it's fun, and it's exciting, and it is, but there's actually behind the scenes just a ton of really hard, intense work that has to be done to put on these events. And it's not for everyone. A lot of people come in and they say, well, I thought this was going to be hanging out with bands and checking out concerts, and it's not like that. It's coming in at 7 in the morning and working 12, 14-hour days and picking up broken beer bottles and dealing with difficult customers, dealing with the heat. We have outdoor concerts in the summer, it's hot. And so there's an appreciation. What's important for us is to have individuals that are invested in and passionate about live music and building their careers, and then it has to be backed up by a really strong work ethic. And that's just the most important thing is, I've read an article saying that the most important indicator of success these days is a person's grit, and you got to have a lot of grit to work in the music industry. Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you visited with the administrators at our Northwest College where the music program is located, where they have a lot of talented young people who are there. The audio recording technology program, et cetera. And these individuals are really interested in moving into careers with the film program and so on as well. So many of them have made their own films and they're looking for venues in order to air them. So it seems to me that would be a perfect connection, and for them to have that kind of mentorship where you would be able to point them in various directions as well, for them to get that experience would be very, very helpful. And so to start a business, how difficult was it, Mr. Heins?
I mean, it's a long process. I mean, I think, and it's always changing. I mean, you'll cross one bridge and then, it just, the obstacles continue to appear, and it doesn't change once you start your business either. And, I think the best thing that you can do, and whether it's business or in life, is just have, that tenacity and a growth mindset and just be motivated to go out there and do everything in your power to just do your best every day and, you know, kind of roll with the punches, because they're going to keep coming, and you're not going to get anywhere feeling sorry for yourself. So, I mean, I think it's just having the right mindset and just, you know, being positive.
Skin,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, and so, you know, you touched on some points that are really key in terms of the right mindset that you have to have, and the fact that the obstacles keep coming. So have there been times when you felt like just throwing in the towel, giving up?
I mean, have I felt like that? Probably, yeah. But it's never crossed my mind, okay, I'm going to, you know, just give up. I mean, you know, everyone gets discouraged, but it's, you know, your attitude once you become discouraged is what determines the outcome of your efforts, I think.
Sure. And of course, I've heard, you know, some business owners say, well, you know, I just decided it would be a whole lot easier to go and get a job working for someone rather than to try to tackle all of the obstacles that keep coming up. But of course, that persistence is really key, and to having a group or a network around you as well to call upon for advice and support. And that's where the chamber obviously comes in as well.
Certainly.
So how would our young people prepare to become an executive director? What would be some of those skill sets required, Mr. Montalbano?
Well, you know, I guess a certain degree of being willing to make some personal sacrifices, honestly, you know, because to go in this path, sometimes those need to be made. But you know, a desire to want to do it and to feel the passion for the neighborhood or the area that you represent. For me, that has a lot to do with it, because the Northside was where I was born and raised and grew up. My father owned businesses throughout the community spanning over 35 years. And so it's a community that's important to me, and it's a community that we've had our share of struggles in the past. And it's nice to be actively involved with the process to change the mindset. And I think that's thanks to individuals such as Johnny and such as Anthony that are out there and investing into our community. And that process is changing now. People have a different perspective now.
So, you know, you touched on struggles, and I'm just really curious to know what those struggles were before we go to break.
Well, you know, you might take a drop in income, things such as that. In order to do things right, I think you have to be prepared to do that, because you really have to put the community you're representing ahead of yourself completely. And so you have to have that passion and that mindset to be able to do that. And so I think that's some of it right there, is just having that passion for the community you represent to be able to make those sacrifices on a personal level.
Of course, absolutely, that's key.
And some background, I
Of
think.
course.
It's good to have a lot of experience.
That is right. I agree with you wholeheartedly, and we're going to continue that conversation, because all of those touch points to help support you on your journey to success are very important. And we're going to talk about those when we return, so please stay with us.
I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and after going through that, they actually transferred me here to Memorial Hermann. And as I was sitting in the hospital, I was thinking to myself, I may not be here. So I decided when I got here, I was going to go back to school. I wanted to do what I wanted to do, which was art. Barely could walk. I walked through the doors of HCC and went straight to admissions, and I told them I wanted to do art. I wanted to paint everything, but I didn't have that talent. I didn't have the ability. But now I have the ability to look at things, and I'm able to put down what it is I see because of what I acquired here at HCC. All of the teachers that I took in art basically told me to stop trying to force things on the canvas. To get out of my head, get into my heart, and put down the story that I want on canvas. I think about those stages. There's 3 particular girls, and I don't think I would ever be the person I am right now without having those 3 stages in my life, especially the cancer girl. I think the cancer girl woke me up. I think I was just walking through life sleep and just going, okay, well, I'm just gonna do what I'm told. And once the cancer girl showed up, it was a whole different other reality. Things that did not matter, did not matter. And now I want my art to matter. I don't think I would have ever acquired the love I have for and the appreciation of art if I would have never came to HCC. When I walked in here, they rebuilt me and taught me how to think and how to put things down and allowed me to do it through my art. And I love that. And I will never forget what HCC has done.
Welcome back to Credential Up Houston. We're talking today about chambers in our community, and we're focusing specifically today on the Greater Northside Chamber of Commerce with the executive director and 2 of the members of the chamber that have businesses in the community. And so we want to continue the conversation that we had in terms of the support system legislatively, in terms of the community. We've discussed that and the importance of connecting with the community as well, perhaps through the networking events that you have, or through the flyers or the emails that you send out to the community to update them in terms of the political influence in the landscape in the city of Houston. So how do you do that? How do you connect? Are the connections made specifically through the chamber, or do you connect individually, one-on-one with your companies to ensure that you have the right advocacy in place? What are your thoughts? Mr. Montalbano, tell me what the chamber does. I know you have your lunch and learns, but
Yeah,
what
our
else
luncheons.
is done?
Yeah, our luncheons, we typically do have, a lot of times we have elected officials that speak at our luncheons, and that's a great opportunity for the attendees to get to meet with our elected officials. And as a matter of fact, we have one coming up, if I may want to promote here, with County Judge Lena Hidalgo coming up on Wednesday, September 18th. But that's a great opportunity in which to ask Judge Hidalgo questions, to engage with her. We have elected officials that come to our Contacts and Coffee, to our evening socials. And we'll talk on an individual basis to everyone there. So it's a great opportunity there. We like to try to get everyone together, and you'll be surprised what can happen a lot of times by just a basic conversation with an elected official.
You're absolutely right to pass off the business card and to follow up later. But in addition to that, Dr. Monique Humphrey, who is the new president of the Northeast, will be on the agenda as well to speak about the college and plans for the future. And of course, there's a campus right there in the community as well.
That's right.
At Northline, where a number of the students attend for programs, and of course the Acres Homes, and then the Northeast campus also. But we don't want to forget fully online as well as an option for residents of the community who want to enroll in educational programs. And
there's so many more options available.
There are many options available.
I wish I had those options, I tell you.
So many adults tell us that now, that if only that had been available when I was in school, I would be so much farther along. And so it's really encouraging. But of course, we're getting more and more students who are across the spectrum who are enrolling in online courses as well. So this is good. Right. So as we look at your work, your outreach, is it primarily through the chamber, Mr. So, or do you work one-on-one with the elected officials as well?
Well, we generally work across all outlets. So we work often directly with elected officials. We also work directly with community members. And by community, it doesn't necessarily need to be an organized group. I mean, it can be just a certain motivated individual. There's an individual that we work with who's just really passionate about cleaning the bayous. And he's just the point person for organizing cleanups of the bayou. So we work with the community in that sense. The chamber is very helpful as a coalescing force for businesses in the Northside. So again, because we're so busy, sometimes we lose focus, and we're so focused on what is in front of us, we don't do the outreach that we necessarily need to do with community organizations and other businesses in the community. And so the chamber does a great job, again, as a coalescing force.
Filter it through us.
Exactly. And the chamber's a great advocate for us in terms of being aware of the concerns that businesses in Northside have. But it's also a reflection of concerns that residents have. There are certain things that residents want out of businesses. It's not just about what businesses can offer residents.
Sure.
And so I've had conversations with people who say, there's a whole universe of people in Northside that have money ready to go, but they just don't know how to do it. And they want certain amenities in the neighborhood, and they just need some help to get there.
Sure.
So it's a reciprocal arrangement where it's not just businesses getting together and talking about their businesses. It's really a two-way street with the community.
Absolutely. So I want to now talk about lessons learned, and coupled with the lessons learned, would like to talk about your advocacy also, Mr. Heins, because you're working now to address the upstart of your business. So lessons learned, and then we'll come around the horn to hear from other guests as well.
I mean, I think it's really important to know the people in your community, and if you really don't have an interest in knowing them, you're going to get to know them anyway. So you might as well be proactive and really, just be proactive in getting to know those people, and because those are the people that you're working with, and that a lot of times, like with Mr. Montalbano, I mean, they have your best interest at heart, and in the businesses and in the community's interest, and in the
And we're in
community's
tune
interest
with
as well.
both, so we can assist you because we are in
Absolutely.
tune with our community too.
That's
And
right.
We try to be a resource in that way.
Of course, absolutely. So that's really, really key, and it's about building relationships, no
Yeah,
matter
I mean,
where
that's-
you are. It's
No business exists, no community exists without those relationships.
right,
I mean,
and no person is
Exactly.
alone. Right. And so, Mr. So, what about you? Lessons learned.
I think probably the most important thing is transparency in process. I think that, as you open any business, there needs to be transparency about what you're doing, what benefits you're going to bring to the community, how the community can help you with your business, or how you can help the community with your
Yes.
business. And I think just transparency in process and truth and honesty in communicating with the neighborhood and other businesses, honestly.
Yes.
I think there's a certain point where people have a tendency to believe what they want to believe,
Correct.
and which may or not necessarily be the truth.
That's right.
And it is incumbent on the businesses to be transparent
Of
and
course.
truth and honesty about what they're doing.
Okay.
And
Final
it makes
word
the community feel involved too.
of you,
Correct.
And
Mr.
people like to feel
Montalbano.
involved.
You get the final word on lessons
Oh.
learned.
Lessons learned. Okay, well.
And we have about 30 seconds or a few less.
Yes.
We
No.
have less.
As far as lessons learned, I mean, I think that what we try to do is try to help curtail the lessons learned. We try to be a resource, really,
That's
to
great.
our business owners to try to assist them to minimize those lessons learned.
Very good. Well, this has really been a very good discussion, and we thank you so very, very much. Great guests on the program, great information shared, and we hope that you, of course, will reach out to our students also to bring them into the training program that will help them to become successful entrepreneurs. And so, congratulations to all of you and continued success. And thank you also very much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next time, and we encourage you to always remember to credential up.